Welcome back. So let's continue with the story of Dicaiopoulos, this Athenian farmer who works for himself. He's an autarchos. He has no master. He's eleutheros. He's free. No master. He's not a slave. He's not a doulos, a slave. So although he works a lot, there's a lot of work. The work is unlimited. It's apeirantos. He still kind of likes his life. He often smiles. He often rejoices. He's often rejoicing, happy. Okay. Polakis un kairi. Often, though, he rejoices. Okay, so he's also strong. Ala iskyros estin ho anthropos kai aoknos. He's strong. He is untiring, resolute, determined. So often he rejoices. Okay. Even if the life is very hard. Kalepos estin hobios. The life is hard. Still, he's strong. He has no master. He's free. So he's even life being hard, being a farmer is very hard. He still rejoices. Eleutheros, free. Okay. Eleutheros garesti, kai autarchos. He often rejoices because gar, which I often translate as for, free for his and self-employed, he works for himself. Eleutheros garesti kai autarchos. Dicaiopoulos. Okay, so philei ton oikon. So there is a particle, one of those particles that is difficult to translate. It's a very subtle adverbial meaning that it carries. So I don't think there is quite a good word in English to translate it. Maybe in other languages, like in French or Portuguese, we could find a word that we could often replace by the, but I don't think English quite has this a good translation of that. So just think of this as making another point. We're talking about he being free and self-employed. He being happy often because, well, at least he's free and self-employed. Now this is like bringing another point. Okay. Also, it's like also. Okay. Phileide. So like phileide ton oikon. It's like loves also. No. Also, he loves his house. His house. Phileide ton oikon. Loves the house. Loves his home. Ton oikon is the house. Okay. Phileide ton oikon. Philet. He loves. Okay. Phileide ton oikon. Loves the house. Kalos garestin hokleros. Kalos garestin hokleros. Beautiful, fine, nice, beautiful is the plot, the lot, the field, the land. His land is beautiful. Kalos garestin hokleros. So he loves his house because beautiful is his land. Okay, he loves his home, his place. Phileide ton oikon. the house, the home. Kalos garestin hokleros. Beautiful for is the land. Kai siton pareki upolyn alachikanon. Siton, we have seen is grain. Okay, like wheat, barley, this kind of grain. Siton pareki upolyn. Kai siton pareki upolyn alachikanon. Grain yields, so the land yields grain. Grain yields not much, but enough, sufficient. Kai siton pareki upolyn, and grain yields not much, ala hikanon, but enough. Okay, so his lot of land doesn't yield much grain, but enough. Okay, so his house is nice. He loves his home. His land is beautiful, and it yields not much grain. Okay, not much grain. Upolyn, not much. Upolyn. Alahikanon, but enough. Siton pareki, grain yields. Upolyn, not much. Alahikanon, but enough. Phili diton oikon, kalos garestin hokleros, kai siton pareki upolyn alahikanon. Kalos estin hokleros, okay. Beautiful is the land, very pretty. Kalos garestin hokleros. Kai siton pareki, yields grain, kai grain yields, and grain yields not much. Upolyn ala hikanon, enough, but enough. Okay, so here his house, he loves his house. Phili ton oikon. Beautiful is his land here, the land around the house. The kleros is kalos. Kalos garestin ho kleros. This kleros here, this land yields much, not much seton, not much grain. Yields seton, not much. Upolyn seton, not much. Alahikanon, but enough. Kai seton pareki. Upolyn, alahikanon. Now let's just have a look at something here. In Greek, as in many European languages, there is a high degree of inflection. So what determines the function the words have in a sentence is not exactly the place they occupy in the sentence, but the ending, little changes that you perform at the end of the word that will determine what's their function in the sentence. So, for example, if you use agros, the field, the field of land, the land, if you use agros as a subject, like the land is beautiful, okay, then you use in this way, ho agros. This is the form it will appear. Ho agros, kalos, estin. The field is beautiful. Ho agros, kalos, estin. Okay. But if you use the field as an object, then it will not appear in this form. It will appear as ton agron. So the way you know that the field is not the subject of the action but the object is because of this. Okay, ton agron. So it doesn't matter if ton agron appears before the verb or after the verb. This doesn't matter. It will still be the object because this is what determines. The ending is what determines if it's subject or object. So it's like you say in English. If you say in English, you could say Maria or Mary loves him. If you said instead him Mary loves, you still could understand that the man is loved by Mary. Him Mary loves. Even if him is appearing before, because the inflection of he into him is enough for you to know that this is going to be the object. So if you say him she loves, although it may sound very weird today, it perfectly conveys the message that she is loving him. Okay, even if he appears before in the sentence. So the meaning of the sentence is determined not by the order, but by the inflection of the words. Okay, so in the same way that him will be always the object, ton agron will be always the object. And you can see that even this nasal sound at the end, like is preserved, is the same in English and in Greek. So agron, him, this is the object. Okay. Okay. Also, when you want to say at the field, at the land, or in the land, in the field, the idea of being at a place. So there will be still another form that we will employ, in which we will employ agros. In this case, it will appear in this form. Toi agroi, en toi agroi, in the field or at the field. Okay. So if you want to say Dikaiopolis works in the field or at the field, you would use en toi agroi. Ho Dikaiopolis Georgi en toi agroi. The Dikaiopolis works in the field. Ho Dikaiopolis ponei en toi agroi. Toils in the field. En in. Okay. En is in or at. It doesn't matter. The context can start to understand by the context. Hodikaiopolis ponei en toi agroi. This is the long vowel, the omega, and this little iota here that some people don't pronounce today, but I prefer to pronounce it. I think it kind of helps to distinguish. So en toi agroi works in the field. En toi agroi. Okay. All right. So subject, object. This would, what would call this in English, an adverb, adjunct. Okay, kind of adverbial adjunct of place or something like that. Adverbial phrase of place, something like that. Okay, so how do we, what's the technical name we give to this? This is the subject, and when it's the noun appears as in the subject form, we say it in the nominative case. So here agros is in the nominative case. Here agron is in the accusative case, and here toi agroi is in the dative case, so nominative, accusative, dative. Okay, with this little grammar, let's proceed now. Ho Dikaiopolis en toi agroi ponei. The sentence I just mentioned before. Okay, Dikaiopolis in the field labors. Okay, en toi agroi ponei, oi en toi agroi georgei. Georgei, like works the land, verb we have seen before. Ho Dikaiopolis en toi agroi ponei. The Dikaiopolis in the field labors, toils, en toi agroi. Ton gar agron skapti. Ton gar agron skapti. Skapti. Skapti digs, in the sense of cultivate. He's digging to cultivate the land. Okay, so he's skapti, cultivates, digs, work, like is the idea of really digging, but in the sense not digging for any reason, like to create to make a well. No, it's digging for the purpose of cultivating the land. So ton gar agron skapti. Notice that here agros appears as ton agron because agron is an object of the verb skapti here. What does he skapti? He skapti ton agron. Skapti ton agron. Okay, so agros will appear in the accusative, in the objective form. Ton agron. It appeared in the dative form because it's in the field. Here is digs the field. Ton gar agron skapti. Therefore, field digs. Okay, so here saying that he is laboring the land for right now. He is laboring the land because, as you can see, he's digging. Ho Dikaiopolis en toi agroi ponei, ton gar therefore field skapti. Okay, the field for he is digging. So the content here is basically like, as you can see, he is working the field because he's digging. For he's digging it. This tells us that he's working the land. So that's why there's this gar here. It's justifying. How do we know that he's working the land? How do we know that? We know that because, as we can see, he's digging. Okay. Ton gar agron skapti. Skapti digs. Makros estin hoponos. Large, big. Makros. Makros is the opposite of mikros. Makros, mikros. That's a very easy word to remember, right? Because macroscopic, macro, anything macro is big. It's very present in English. Big, large. Makros estin hoponos. Large is the toil. Large is the labor. A lot of labor. Big is the labor. Kai kalipos, and difficult. So the labor is large, is makros, and is difficult. Kalipos. Makros estin hoponos kai kalipos. Makros estin hoponos kai kalipos. Large is the toil and difficult. Now, one observation at this point, you see that when you use the verb to be, like estin, what comes after the verb to be, like here? The labor is large. What do we call what comes after the verb to be? It's not an object. Okay, the verb to be establishes what? The equality, or at least a predication between two things. So, like, she is Mary. She is Mary. You are establishing a kind of equality. She equals to Mary. So, it's like you have two subjects in this sentence. If you have two subjects, so they will be both in the, they will appear both in the nominative case, because this is the case in which we write the subjects. So the verb, if you have the verb to be establishing the equality between two entities, two beings, she is a being, Mary is another being. If you say she is Mary, you say this being equals that being. They are both subjects. So if she's Mary or Mary, she is the same. It's like you have two subjects in this sentence. So they will be both in the nominative case. Both Mary and she. You don't see her is Mary. You don't say that, right? Because, or you don't say hin is John, John is hin. You never say that, because you have two subjects. You don't have an object. So he is John, John is he. Another way you can use the verb to be is by establishing a predication. So you're saying a quality of the subject. He's fat, he's tall. So in this case also, in Greek, you use the nominative case. So fat would appear in the nominative case and he in the nominative case. So it doesn't matter. Whenever you have the verb to be establishing the equation between two entities, or establishing a predication, that means stressing or affirming an attribute of the subject. In both cases, the verb to be, the two things that are linked by the verb to be, which is called a linking verb, they will both appear in the nominative case. So that's why here say makros estin hoponos. You don't say Macron. Macros is not appearing here in the accusative. Macros, not Macron. Why? Because the verb to be is the linking verb. So both things that are being linked, ponos and macros, will appear in the nominative case. So, summarizing, if there is verb to be, both things being linked by it will be in the nominative case. Okay, not one in the nominative, the other in the accusative. Both in the nominative. So, makros estin hoponos, kai kalepos, kai kalepos. Difficult. Okay. Hodikaiapolis and toi agroi ponei. Hodikaiapolis in the field labors. Ton garagron skapti. Therefore, field he digs. Ton garagron skapti. The field he cultivates, he digs. Okay. Okay, so let's remember then. I think I will stop here because we covered some little grammar here, so I want you to think a little bit about that. Let's not proceed further. Let's have a look at the use of agros in these two contexts here. One as in the place, so en toi agroi. Here as the object, skapte ton agron skapte. Okay. Here, ho agros, nominative case, subject, ton agron, accusative case, object, and toi agroi, dative case. In the field, at the field, or on the field. So let's stop here. Continue next time. Thank you.